Moving on to more fighting, we had the third part of a trilogy, which would be Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez. There were some quick early bites. It was bouts. I said bites. Bouts. Mike Alvarado actually TKO'd Prescott, which in a lightweight battle. It basically, it was unbelievable because Prescott was so far ahead on the cards. Yes. He had basically paced the fight. He had won this fight, and he just got caught in the last round and got TKO'd. I know that mug is just sitting back going, what the fuck happened? Yep. Now, also, there was Timothy Bradley, who fought a veteran of the sport.
Veteran my ass. Fucking veteran of hugging.
Right. Ifo named
fucking
Casamayor, right? He basically called him a Huggy Bear, George, because he was grabbing and holding. He was Huggy Bear, Shorty. That was his new name. He was hanging out with Starsky and Hutch because he was basically grabbing. It was getting annoying.
Yeah.
You know, it was getting annoying in two ways, that he would not stop grabbing Bradley, and it was so obvious that he was being so outclassed by Timothy Bradley. Everybody's like, when are they going to throw in the towel? And Bradley was just fucking.
Strategy?
Huh?
Isn't that just strategy in boxing? Being able to clinch?
It wasn't.
That's part of the strategy.
There's some strategy to clinch, George, and then there's some strategy like, okay, is this motherfucker getting ready to ask him to the Sadie Hawkins dance? Because he was, you know what I mean? I mean, shit was fucking crazy.
No, actually, I don't, because I was born before and after 1945.
Why you got a Joan, man? He's always talking mad shit, Ifo. George is always talking mad shit.
Why, he doesn't? No Sadie Hawkins for this one?
Dance, dog.
Yeah, Sadie Hawkins. They still got the Sadie Hawkins. You know, Sadie Hawkins was just the 9th.
That's when the broads ask you. What
yeah,
happened?
man.
No broads ever asked you to the dance? What the fuck?
See my face? No one's asking me to do shit.
Right. But basically, man, it was just, we were sitting here going, okay, man, throw in the fucking towel, because he was so outclassed, you know, and it was to the point where it was no way he was going to win a fight. He was getting wrecked with body shots, and we're like, okay, this needs to be over with. And the biggest thing is, we were like, okay, we want to see what we all tuned in for, and that was Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Marquez for the third time. And I'm going to tell you what, those fucking guys put on a fucking show, man. You know what I mean? Marquez has Manny Pacquiao's number. Yeah. And I can tell you right off, he definitely does. It was a good fight. It was a close fight. If it was a split decision or a draw, I would have said fine. And I'm a Pacquiao fan. I'm telling you what, being a Pacquiao fan, there are Mayweather fans right now that are fucking getting very excited because they show and some people, Pacquiao fans might not want to hear this, but he showed if you're a good counterpuncher, you keep him off balance. It was very effective tonight with that right. I mean, Marquez did some great counterpunching, and it just really fucking frustrated. Now, there's a history with these two guys, obvious. You know, I mean, Marquez has had shown enough power in the past and put Manny down a couple times, you know, obviously not out cold, but he's put him down on the canvas. And maybe he was scared to pull the trigger. Maybe he's scared to pull the trigger because of that. Maybe he's scared to pull the trigger because he has a $100 million payday that he could be looking at just going up in smoke. But for some reason or another, what the fuck are you doing, George? Are you sneezing or yawning?
I'm yawning.
Oh,
but it's 1:30 in the morning. I am tired. But walking around all over Philadelphia.
But what was your thoughts on it, George?
Well, I mean, it looked good. It's a little hard not seeing it quite like you guys saw it, but
right.
I still got to see the fight.
Right.
But it like I heard you say. I mean, styles make fights, and it just he's got Pacquiao's number. I mean, they could probably fight 100 times, and I think that fight's going to end up the same way. It's just it's going to be tough, gritty. It's going to go the distance. I mean, I was hoping Pacquiao would win in 8, but obviously that didn't happen.
No.
Pacquiao didn't look like he threw as many punches and was as aggressive as he's been in the past, and maybe he was worried about his power. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if this finally leads us to see him fighting Mayweather, that'll be great. But I don't think Mayweather throws a whole lot of punches. No, Mayweather's interested in throwing those 15 to 20 shots and then coasting the rest of the round. So I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, Mayweather is probably the best defensive fighter out there. He's a great counterpuncher and stuff like this. I mean, this could be a fucking great fight. You know, and maybe this will be enough for seeing that Floyd Mayweather pretty much handily destroyed, Marquez when they fought. Maybe this will be enough. And like I said, styles make fight. But maybe this will be enough to make Mayweather's camp say, okay, yeah, let's do this. What do you? Ifo is shaking his head like this shit is not going to happen. Are you the second coming of Rude Jude?
Listen, I'm sorry, but there's no way that Mayweather will fight.
You don't think it's going to happen?
There's no way, because he's going to bitch out just like all the other times, because he knows that. I'm just saying, I think Pacquiao will take him as well.
Right.
And Mayweather, like, come on now, that dude's ego is massive. He's not going to do a fight where he could possibly lose.
Yeah, I think at this point in time in his career, I mean, a lot of people are saying this. A lot of people think that, and I think if you took a lot of people who are boxing enthusiasts or analysts and everything, a lot of people, and I think including Vegas, will have Mayweather as the favorite, but they will have Mayweather as the favorite. But the thing is that for some reason or another, they just don't seem like they want to make this fight happen. You know what I mean? And it's like, and people are just like, what the fuck? I mean, the bottom line is, who cares about being fucking undefeated? Because if you really look at the greatest...
Mayweather does.
Yeah.
Because if Mayweather's not undefeated, Mayweather has nothing else going on.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say in my career, man, I would just go out and just try to fight the best fights.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the greatest fighters in boxing history, all of them are the ones that were in great battles. You know what I'm saying? And Floyd Mayweather, even though he's undefeated and he's beat some great worthy opponents, I mean, he's going to be some great opponents, he hasn't been in that many crazy battles. People are going to still question that. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's not taking any away from, because right now he's the most skilled boxer out there. No one can say that. No one has beat him. So I can't sit here and say, oh, but I'm going to tell you what, I haven't seen him in some crazy battles as of lately. You know what I'm saying? I have not. Have you seen Floyd Mayweather in a fight like we saw tonight? No. That shit was fucking.
Last time Floyd Mayweather got in a fight, he got arrested for domestic abuse.
Oh.
It's always, man.
What he does in the boxing ring, dude, is not fighting. I don't give a shit what anyone wants to say. To me, that's not fighting. That's
it's
me
boxing.
Putting on these giant 16-ounce pillows, and I'm gonna punch this dude 8 or 9 times. I'm gonna do this shit, and then I'm gonna wait.
Right.
And then I'm gonna wait. I mean, to me, that's not fighting. That's not a battle. That's not a war.
He is not. And I agree with you. It is boxing. It is definitely boxing. He is incredible at boxing, probably the best boxer out there. But like you said, he's not in some all-out fights. He's not in wars. He's not in anything remotely what we saw with Manny Pacquiao and Juan Marquez tonight. You just do not see that.
When you say fight and war, a war, the first thing that pops into my head is Gaddy and Mickey Ward. Those were that trilogy. That was crazy.
Right, or the fights that you saw with Leonard and Hearns and those things, where they were like, or Duran and Leonard and all those fights, and that's those welterweights that were just stacked back in the 80s. I mean, those were good fights, I mean, but you just do not see Mayweather really engaging that much because he's a defensive fighter.
He's not a fighter.
Yeah. So I mean, with that being said, I mean, after the fight, they interviewed Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, there was a huge Mexican crowd at the fight because they were booing. They didn't like the decision. And you know what? I'm telling you, like I said, I'm a Manny Pacquiao fan. But if they said it was a draw, I would have been like, I could see that because it was a close fucking fight. But the question still remains: are they going to fight in May? Mayweather put this date out there on the table. I got two motherfuckers. I'm looking at George and Amana right here, and Ifo shaking his head. Both are saying no, it's not going to happen. Why? Honestly, give me a real honest reason. We'll close the show. Why do you think it's not going to materialize?
Because Mayweather will find some other reason.
Really?
If it's not a drug test, it'll be the temperature in the room's not right, or Freddie Roach said something about his mama, or one of the 9 women he's beat up in the last 16 weeks will have to press charges, and he won't be able to train right. There'll be an excuse, but you know what? I'm praying that there isn't, and we're not going to end the show on that. As soon as Ifo's done, I got a question for the two of you.
Okay, what's up, Ifo? What do you think about why don't you think this fight will materialize between?
I think exactly the same as George. Like, Mayweather is going to bitch out. He's going to find some other excuse. Oh, my fucking Bentley got a fucking flat tire. Whatever the fuck his excuse is going to be, right? Because I mean, it's like it seems like Pacquiao and fucking Marquez, like, they want to fight because they're like, no, let's put a show on for the fans and let's fucking box it out. Like, listen, you and me, let's go toe to toe.
Right.
Mayweather doesn't have that. He's gonna try and look for another sucker punch like he did in his last fight.
Right.
Oh, your face is turned. Check this out. Booyah, you're done. Ooh, I'm the winner. Give me my money.
Well, I will have to say this too, man. It is funny because you look at people who follow boxing, and a lot of people, you know, especially in the black community, you're gonna see a lot of Mayweather support. You know what I mean? You just do. It's true. It's true. I mean, it ain't a black or white thing or whatever. And so you just see that. You know what I mean? I'm a Pacquiao fan. I say it straight up just because of the man, what he does as a whole, his whole work of art. I like it. But that doesn't mean I'm ever going to discredit Mayweather for what he does. But I will tell you this: what you're hearing with you two guys is starting to roll over with everybody now. Everybody's starting to kind of call Mayweather out. You heard it with Rujude on Shade 45. You're seeing a lot with the black following of Floyd Mayweather. They're starting to go, well, what's going on? Now you're starting to see people go, okay, why aren't you taking this fight? Okay, you're undefeated. You're paid. This is a $100 million payday. What do you have to lose? Just your perfect record? So people are starting to say that you're fucking scared. I mean, and that's just a general consensus. That's not something anybody's fabricating. I think there's a lot of people that love Floyd Mayweather, and deep inside they're going, And then there'll be some people that say, well, Pacquiao's scared. I just don't see.
Pacquiao's not scared of shit.
No, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, and we've been over this before, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it again. Pacquiao has nothing to lose.
He really doesn't.
He's lost before. He'll probably lose again before he's done boxing. And I would rather see Pacquiao go out there and give it his all, which you know he will, and lose to Floyd Mayweather than never see the fight at all.
Yeah, I would too. I would like to see that because I think that it will force Floyd Mayweather into an exciting fight. You know what I'm saying? Not that I just think that Pacquiao will press the action so much, it'll force Floyd to counter more, it'll force Floyd to be a little bit more aggressive, but I think we'll get a more action-packed fight if that shit ever materializes. Now, what the fuck do you need to ask me an EFO?
Okay. I don't know if you two have heard this, but this is the big controversy going down. Before this big fight on UFC, one group got together and says Fox should ban the UFC because of what Forrest Griffin said. Forrest Griffin went on his Twitter and said rape is the new missionary. What's going to happen to Forrest Griffin?
Rape is the new missionary.
I mean, rape jokes are never funny, but I don't think it's fair.
I don't know. It depends. Are you raping a clown?
That's kind of funny.
Right, yeah.
Because now think about who he is. He's the guy who's credited as saving the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what? And here's the thing: he didn't even come up with enough goddamn common sense to go, my Twitter account got hacked.
Right.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's. I don't think. Okay, this is the thing. It depends on how.
Twitter, dog.
It was on his Twitter, but where did you pick up the news from?
Oh, that was from a friend.
Right. So I mean, the thing is, it depends on how much of the media gets a hold of it. If the media,
they already got a hold of it. They went to. I'm not kidding. They went to Fox and says this should be banned. Like you should not put on a group. I would imagine a women's interest group got in UFC Fox's ear and said, Yeah. I was like, you employ a guy who makes these kind of comments on a public forum?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I think the UFC doesn't want to have anything that's going to make their relationship with Fox shaky because that today looked good. I mean, for them to let that look like a real production, having those guys, and even though you didn't have those guys that are MMA expert report, they know their shit. They're great. I mean, they just look. Even when you hear the UFC guys talk, they look amateurs compared to those guys. It's just Fox is a major fucking network. They know how to put on a show. They know how to market the shit. They got a good thing going. If it got to the point where it really started blowing up and got hit with a media storm, and all of a sudden the UFC is like, oh, okay, we're kind of stressing out a little bit about this. And given what Forrest Griffin has done lately in the UFC, then yeah, you could see him maybe being kind of tucked away or not getting fights.
But if it was his official, like if it was like Forrest Twitter at UFC. Right. If it was his official, if he was making rape jokes on that, all right, that's fucked up. You probably shouldn't do that.
Right.
And I mean, not condoning that, rape jokes in general. Like, I mean, yeah, all right, unless it's a clown, like that shit is probably not funny.
Right.
But on the other hand, I mean, it's not fair to condone the entire UFC just because one fucking knucklehead is like, rape is the new missionary. Like,
right?
Nah, you know, like.
Yeah, see, they're trying to fucking bend the arm and say, okay, you know, and after a while, if you do give into some of that shit, it sucks to say this, but if you do give into that shit, anytime one of your athletes does something a little fucked up, I mean, there's so many fucking athletes. I mean, you see, the NFL can't they can impose fines or they can do things or say, don't give you fights in this, but the NFL, the players go out there, I'm sure they've Twittered them dumb shit, stupid shit, dumb shit, make it rain, raping girls. I mean, they're literally raping girls. You know what I'm saying? You know, Ben Roethlisberger's really raping girls. You know what I mean? So he's not Twittering it.
No.
You're not saying it, George, so it's okay. I'm saying it for
allegedly.
you. Allegedly raping girls. Allegedly. Let me correct myself. Huh?
Lawrence Taylor?
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor. So, I mean, and you know what? Fox is still showing games every fucking Sunday because I'll be watching them bitches tomorrow.
Damn right.
Now,
Yep.
The one thing that's a little bit different though is these NFL players have been told by Roger Goodell, if you spout off on Twitter, you will get fined.
Right.
Dana White, on the other hand, said, I can't control everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Start finding them. They'll shut up real quick because they don't get paid a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you start hitting them with nasty fines, or if you just say you're banned from fighting for a year, you know, I mean, you take a fighter and you ban them for a year or 2 years. That's it.
Well, here's the thing: if Forrest Griffin, they want to hurt Forrest Griffin, all they gotta do is pull his sponsors.
Yeah.
Get the UFC. UFC doesn't pay him enough to where he can train all year long. It's those sponsors that are really, paying him to train, paying him to eat. So we'll see. I mean, it was just interesting because it's something I think that somewhat slipped under the radar and hasn't made a whole lot of waves yet. But
yeah.
I think in the next week or two, if this gets picked up and someone runs with it, Forrest Griffin might be at shark fights fighting Bob the Big Boy.
Yeah. And Aoife looked at me like, "What the fuck is shark? Shark Fights is a real fucking like federation for fighting.
Oh yeah.
That's not some shit that he fabricated.
It's part of the Home Depot League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have a couple little lower divisions, guppy fights and minnow fights too. And on that note, we're going to be closing out this fucking show. Deuces, George. I will catch you when you get back in town later. And he's out. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.